Good morning and happy Friday, guys. Welcome in the McInnis Pick Show with Andrew and Jeff, here to talk some college football, NFL, and who knows what else will be in between when the two of us get together. Good morning, Mr. Dawson. How are you?
I am doing great. Football officially has begun. Per Patrick Mahomes to Mr. Isaiah Likely. Next time you might want to wear white cleats. An amazing game. My take very simply is, hey guys, you had an opportunity to step on this Chiefs' neck last year. The team was kind of struggling offensively, limping in. Two road games at Buffalo, at Baltimore. I will say currently that the Ravens' kryptonite, like most teams, is Kansas City. It's a tough matchup for them because they're playing from behind most of the time. But NFL world, look out because wow, this Kansas City Chiefs team is going to be a wagon.
And how about Xavier Worthy, the night that he had to kick off his NFL career? And I think that what we saw from him last night, Jeff, and I'm disappointed because one of my free plays at Wager Talk was him over on his longest reception. Of course, didn't end up making that an official bet. But when you look at a guy like that, he's not going to need 5 or 6 receptions to make an impact on a game. He's going to need 2 or 3 with the bursts of speed that he has. We saw him break the 40-yard dash record. It's unbelievable to see. And, of course, how does Kansas City end up with a player like that after what they've done the last several years? It blows my mind. But any thoughts on him? And then overall, should Ravens bettors be disappointed in themselves? Because the way I'm standing, I know people are, pumping their chests if they had the Chiefs this morning, but I think the Ravens had all the chances in the world.
Yeah, there was a stat that came out on Twitter on Justin Tucker, who is the god of kicking, or had been, I should say, misses another 50-yarder. I think they said he's 11 for 24 in his last 11 for 24 in his last 24 kicks of 50 and beyond. You saw some flashes of Derrick Henry early. Again, this team is predicated for playing from ahead, not behind. They scored on their first possession. Then they played a little grab ass, and then almost like the Calgary Stampeders. You can't let Kansas City hang around.
Yeah.
Kansas City grabbed the lead. On our alert I sent out, I had the halftime score 13-10 pegged. Unfortunately, I said it would be the Ravens, not Kansas City. We had their team total over the 24 and a half. Hats off for Ravens not quitting. Showed some great resiliency. I thought some time management was a little poor there in that red zone. Again, everyone's talking about Likely and missing the touchdown, by a fraction. Well, can we go to the play before when Zay Flowers was wide open and he missed them, by 5 yards, and Zay's just smiling. So I knew they'd go for two. I was on record on Sports Grid last week and this week saying Kansas City wins, Baltimore covers, and I knew right away if they scored that touchdown, he was going to go for two because you didn't want to go to overtime against this team. So had an opportunity for that. Overall, if you're a Ravens fan, I like what I saw with the defense. Obviously, loved what I saw from Likely. Zay Flowers, you can't get those 1 yard dink and dunks. You need to stretch the field a little more. So they're going to need a second wide receiver there. They'll ease Mark Andrews in. Everyone, that drafted Mark Andrews and didn't draft Likely jumping off the Tobin Bridge today. Just pump the brakes. He was in a car accident and he didn't practice for like 5 weeks. So they're going to ease him in. When you got Likely, they can do that. On the Chiefs side, again, thank the Bills for trading the pick to Kansas City to get Worthy. It's Tyreek Hill 2.0. As soon as they drafted him, that's what they were comparing him to. And what I liked the most was their usage. They used him early. They got the running touchdown. And then what did they do? They don't use him the rest of the half. And then they're going to pick their spots. When they find the defense cheating, they're going to get into the huddle and just say, all right, go to the mailbox and I'm going to hit you. And he's just so quick. And then you add Rashee Rice and the NFL doing the Chiefs a big favor, waiting till the process, the justice system takes care of it. Well, that's not till late December, and you know he's going to go there and get another date, and they're going to do it in the spring. So he should be playing for the full year. Great game to kick off. And we got a game tonight, and I see it's the Packers, so it's Christmas Day again for you.
I'm excited. I'm excited, and it's another tale of two stories here where it's kind of like, one team that's got some hype, I think, and then one team that people are thinking, hey, did they overachieve last year? So some interesting stories around that game as well. And just to finish up on the game last night, Jeff, the penalties, too. I'm in the belief, people always say growing up means you start thinking this. Growing up means you start thinking that. Well, you know what growing up is as an NFL bettor? Growing up is not blaming the referees when your team that you bet on continues to make mistakes. And when illegal formation becomes something going on every 2 plays, that's a problem. And when Patrick Mahomes was probably not going to be able to find somebody on 3rd down, and you go ahead and rush at him and hit him in the head for a personal foul, roughing the passer, I'm sick and tired of people blaming the referees for boneheaded moves by the players, Jeff. It's easy for us to all blame the referees. I hate to break it to people. Sometimes it actually is the player's fault.
Yeah, and I will be honest with you. I either unfollowed or muted 24 people that I followed for a long time. I don't play the ref game. I never have. I never will. I take it with in stride because in our lanes, it eventually all evens out. So everyone that hates the Chiefs, it's always the refs. It's always, it's never anyone else's fault. Clearly, the refs came in and made it a point that we're looking for that. They called it a false start, but you guys were lining up wrong. So you get one flag, you get another flag, and they show Harbaugh going crazy, screaming at the ref. Harbaugh, grab your offensive coordinator, grab the team behind the ears and say, hey guys, wake up, because you can. Baltimore is a team, again, they got to be moving forward. You don't want Lamar 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13. Now, he ran for over 100 yards, and we know he's elusive. He looked fast as you know what. But at the end of the game, last year the Chiefs were just muddling. They were muddling. And this year, don't forget, they lost opening game on Thursday night to the Lions, and I think that was in the back of their head, too. They opened up yesterday against the Ravens. They got the Bengals game too. So now they only play them each once. They beat the Bengals. Those are 2 of their biggest opponents for the number 1 seed. Start 2-0. Let this team get comfortable. Oh my God, the AFC's in trouble.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, and it's one of those things where they're not going away for many years. There were a couple looks that I had yesterday that were good. 1 or 2 that did not go that I thought. I was doing all kinds of content, spitting out some plays. Didn't end up releasing much. But one thing I will say is that I'm a big believer in trying to find value in the catching game with running backs. And I'll tell you, with teams that have poor offensive lines and a quarterback that loves to tiptoeing around in the pocket like Lamar does, when you can hit some of these running backs, I think you can really profit. And a lot of people know, Jeff, Derrick Henry is not catching balls, right? And I think that's why Justice Hill's going to be the guy. So I'm not saying it's going to be as easy as it was for me to hit that play every week, but I'm very, very curious because it's not as easy as we have all these prop softwares and apps and different websites. Everyone has their own website they use now, right? But it's not as easy to track, okay, what was this guy's number last week? In the NFL, we can say, what was this team's point spread last week? But I'm very curious to see what Justice Hill's number is next week, as we saw 9.5, then 10.5, and I think we even saw an 11.5 at some books because they were getting pounded. And you don't want to be on the popular bet all the time, obviously. And I did see some people liking his receptions or his receiving yards, but Joe Mixon is a good example of a guy like that. Obviously now a new team for him this year, someone that you can rely on for receiving yards or receptions that, for if you're a fantasy player, especially if you're in a PPR league, for someone that might not have a huge day for you on the ground, but could make up for that in the receiving game. Any thoughts on those running backs getting involved in the passing game?
I am a big fantasy football guy, and I the last week especially, and on the waiver wire whenever I could, I ran to the window and I made sure I added Samaje Perine, who was added to the Kansas City stable there. With CEH out for at least the first month, we know how physical of a runner Pacheco is. In comes Samaje Perine for Cincinnati, formerly of Cincinnati, then Denver, now back to now with the Chiefs, almost in that McInnis role now. And again, he's only been there for a week. He caught one pass for 10 yards, but there was a third down where he just kind of circled out to the left and he just didn't square the route off enough and it went off his hands. He had pay dirt. It was going to be a 45-yarder straight down the left sideline unless the safety came from the other side and caught him. So someone keep your eyes moving forward as they ease Samaje Perine in. On the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson, first and second down back. Here's a name that you can get that I guarantee you the number's low for this Sunday. Antonio Gibson. He's the guy. He's the only guy, the pass catching back. Not that Stevenson doesn't catch passes, but Antonio Gibson. Keep an eye on there. But when I'm formulating my fantasy teams, if I got a Breece Hall and 4 straight wide receivers, I'm looking for pass catching backs. I'm looking for those third down backs or those vultures like David Montgomery. Later on, I was a Jalen Wright guy. I know A-Chain's there. I know Mozart's there, but keep an eye on the Jalen Wrights, the Blake Corums of the world, and start sifting through the madness of DraftKings. Use your prop sites, whatever you're doing. And you don't have to dive in on Sunday and say, geez, Jeff, those were 0 for 5. My point is, keep these guys on your radar. Start charting them. Start seeing their usage. So when the book lets the number get stale, you can then start to pop them.
I love it. I love it. And like you said, those guys are going to be there for the long-term picture this year, not just a one-game in and out type of thing. And for teams like the Patriots, Jeff, you guys have had it pretty good over there for quite some time. People are pretty down on them. Everyone's talking about under 5.5, 4.5, whatever it may be. But I think, one thing that I like to do from the prop market that I had a good run with, and you always realize anything you feel like is too easy is not, and it catches up with you. But I used to bet pass completions or pass attempts on teams that, let's say they were in the +6 or higher range, thinking that they weren't going to have to pass the ball a ton in order to survive, right? In order to keep themselves in a game. So the run game would be eliminated, thinking that, like, Daniel Jones has been a pass completions machine for me. And it probably sounds funny to say that, but it's because he found himself a lot of times in games having to throw the ball a lot. And also, he doesn't really throw the ball deep a ton, so he's constantly checking the ball down. And if it takes a team long, like, Patrick Mahomes might actually not always be a good player to bet completions on, Jeff, because the guy can get you down the field in 3 passes. Some quarterbacks need 13 passes to get you that far down the field. But again, so to use your point with Gibson and some of these guys, if you're looking for teams and way to make money on players that aren't really on great teams, well, some of those guys are going to have to be involved in the passing game because their quarterback might have to be throwing the ball. They can't run the ball when it's 3rd and long, but they also might not be able to find someone downfield. So that running back might be open to hopefully get you those 6 or 7 yards that you need to move on. But Jeff, let's start with NFL, then we'll get to some college football. We'll get a few picks out of you. I know you've got all your picks going on at your website, but of course doing all kinds of shows all throughout the week. I want to try and get a few out of you, pick your brain. We'll start with tonight. I always try and avoid biases. We rarely do. It hasn't been hard for me in a lot of leagues because, well, my Canadians in the NHL have been horrible, and the Packers were pretty good last year. So that's not that bad. And my Raptors were pretty bad last year. So my teams are either pretty good or pretty bad. But when I look at this game, I do lean the Pack. But, I don't take a lot of team totals under. But I kind of like the Eagles team total under in this game. Am I being a little risky with that one?
Well, I do want to say this. These spreads have been out for months, okay? I talk about going to your local landfill on Monday morning at 8 a.m. and leaving a nice 25-pound turkey right there, and then come back Sunday at around 12:30 when you're getting ready to place your wagers, and there's nothing there but bones and carcass. Well, these lines have been out for 4 months. What was the final score of the game last night?
What was it?
27-20.
27-20, yeah.
What was the over-under?
46.5, 47.5. And
Yeah.
the first half total, 23.5.
Yeah,
13-10.
I gave out 13-10 as the halftime score. I had Ravens. So my point is, we gave out Kansas City team total over 24.5 last night. It lands on 27. They were juiced under. Okay, that was my carrot. The Baltimore Ravens was 23.5 juiced over. That's like, hey, the Ravens are going to get to 24, guys. And again, they were this close. Again, likely wears white cleats, then probably it's a touchdown. I'm looking at the team totals here. 24.5 over for Philly, not under, like Kansas City. 23.5 over minus 125 for the Packers. So they're kind of enticing us to say, okay, well, the Packers are going to get to 24 or better. We know that for a fact. But you only got to lay 25 cents. One of my resources has Philly 24.5 over minus 20 cents. One of it is minus 110 both sides. So if I had to pick a team total today, right now on your show at 10:42, I would lean to the Eagles over the 24.5. Because
man.
again, they didn't give you the 24 flat. They didn't give you the 23.5. They gave you the 24 and a hook like Kansas City. And I'll be 100% honest with you. An under over at 48.5, now at 49 at the Circa. Good morning to Derek and Jeffrey Benson. Opened at 1.5, now a flat 2. I'm expecting fireworks. But to be honest with you, with the players stuck in their hotel, can't go out because of what's going on in Brazil, it's more like a business trip, 9-hour flight. Get your workouts in, have some good meals, watch some film. Let's go play football. And oh, by the way, have your bags back because we're heading back home in the morning. So I don't know what the start of this game is going to be like. Is it going to be back and forth, touchdowns, touchdowns, touchdown? Do we get the Jordan Love from the last 8 weeks, from one of the last times we saw him at Dallas put up a 40-plus burger? Or are we going to get the defensive struggle? What kills overs? Field goals. Hey, we're going to do that 20-20, and we're just lining up the field goal guys. The bend don't break. So I think tonight's game, I thought you could take more from last night's game pre-flop than you can tonight's game on pre-flop, because I really don't know what to expect.
Well, I don't like being head-to-head, so maybe the play for me might just be my Pack. I don't want to take the team total under if you're looking towards the over there for the Eagles. And like you said, you hate to think like this, Jeff, but I had in my mind, I said, one favorite's going to hit, one dog's going to hit, one over's going to hit, one under's going to hit in the Thursday and Friday game. And I'm not, obviously each game is its own game, and I understand that. But when I look at this, it's a great point by you, because this isn't something where people can go on here and say, they're in Germany, they're going around, they're tasting beers, they're checking out this scenery, checking out that scenery. They're not. Like, they're playing this game, and that's why they're there. They're not leaving their hotels. They're not even allowed to answer phone calls from phone numbers they don't recognize. They're there to play a football game. The one thing I will say about the Packers that makes me excited is that they're healthy. Christian Watson, ever since OTAs, has not missed a day, has not missed a single rep at practice. A lot of these guys, I've got people asking me, well, who's going to be the guy for you guys in Green Bay this year, your team? And I tell them the best part about the Packers is that every week you're going to find out who that new guy is. And for fantasy owners, it's going to be very, very, frustrating because sometimes it's Romeo, sometimes it's Watson, sometimes it's Wicks. And then what about the tight end situation? I think the tight ends might be in for a good night tonight. But is it Kraft or is it Musgrave? And it's a good thing as a team and a fan to be wondering, but from a prop perspective, sometimes I ask myself, who the hell is going to have a good night tonight for the Packers? I'm a fan of this team, and I'm not sure whose night is going to be tonight. The health, to me, is really important. And the defense, on the offensive side of things, on the offensive line side of things. So that could back your opinion about the fireworks tonight in this game. And won't be surprised if we see a tush push or two tonight. It seems like Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown is the same volume as it was with Derrick Henry to score a touchdown last night.
I'm gonna pile on here. I took Watson over Dubs. I loved what I heard yesterday in our one of our biggest leagues. There was a $1,850 entry fee. For regular season first prize $7,000, and then a 3-week race for $250,000. So I'll be flying you into Boston if we pop that one there. But my point is, I love the depth. Love took off when Watson came back and was healthy, and my number two wide receiver on Green Bay in the back of my mind is going to be Wicks this year. He's going to get his touches, but he's waiting in the wings. Is Jaden Reed hurt? Is Dubs hurt? Is Watson nicked up? And I look for Wicks to take off. But here, you got two backs, two different teams. Saquon Barkley. Go back to when the Eagles brought on DeAndre Swift. Game 1, he was the next coming to Earl Campbell. They touched him. They gave him a lot of touches, a lot of passes. I look for Philly to get Barkley off early. I look for them, whether it's runs, whether it's passes. So take a look at receiving yards, rushing and receiving, anytime touchdown for Barkley. And on the same part, you got a Marshawn Lloyd banged up. You got an Emmanuel Wilson currently as your number 2. But you got fresh leg Josh Jacobs. Why not welcome him to the team? Again, a lot of rushes, a lot of pass catching there. So I like the two backs to be very in the game, especially early there to get their feet wet. And to the tush push, no Kels. Kind of how Hurts was getting hurt. Not that they won't run the tush push, but why am I paying Barkley all this money when we can just hand it off to Barkley, or we can do a little dump off pass. So I think a little less this year of the tush push. Not that they're not going to use it, but again, we got Barkley back there this year, so I think they'll be real comfortable with Mr. Barkley as well.
It's a great point. The running back room for both teams is going to be interesting, especially the Packers, really, because they were such a pass-heavy team last year. They didn't go ahead and grab Jacobs for no reason, right? So how they're going to use him, we'll have to find out, but I hope they do. And that will impact the total. It really will. It will impact the total to see how these teams are utilizing their running backs. But, Jeff, looking at the entire board here, everyone's excited. Week 1. Sunday morning is going to feel like Christmas morning for a lot of people. So many games. And, what I always say to people is, hey, even if it's today on a Friday, and if it's not Monday or Tuesday, whatever it is, my biggest advice I'll give people, and this isn't actually about a pick, settle on your picks before 1 or 12:59, okay, on Sunday. Don't be rushing to make your picks. Have your picks ready. Wake up Sunday morning with your picks already locked in, or have them Sunday morning. Don't wait. Don't rush. Last minute. You want to do a same game parlay? Throw one together. But we've all had weeks and months with these numbers, as Jeff said. And if you don't love a lot this week, use info you learn from watching this week to help you make money next week. Everybody loves overreaction week, Jeff, but what are you seeing for any team totals, any side plays you like that you can give us out here before we jump into college football real quick?
The NFL stands for any given Sunday. And again, you scratch your head and you look on Monday morning after you had a losing Saturday and you pushed all in on Sunday. You wake up Monday morning hungover. What did I do? And again, these numbers have been up for months now. So, as Andrew said, be careful. I'll give you a couple tidbits. Jacoby Brissett, the quarterback for the Patriots, is 2-0 against Cincinnati, his last two games that he has faced them, obviously for other teams other than the Patriots. Jamar Chase, is he going to play? Is he not? We saw this number go from 9.5 to 7.5. So I know 40-50% of the circle pool will have Cincinnati. Wouldn't be shocked when you come on to our show on Monday or Tuesday if the Bengals win 28-10. But I wouldn't be shocked if the Pats are close in the fourth quarter as well. Keep an eye on some dogs. The whole world's on the Bears. Keep an eye on that Tennessee team. That Tennessee team, again, Will Levis, no Derrick Henry, new coaching staff, new regime. All the glory and all the publicity is on Caleb Williams and his new toys there. So keep an eye on Tennessee there as well. And just the short favorites, the ones that they're begging you to take. They're begging you to take Pittsburgh this week. Is it going to be Russell Wilson? Is it going to be Justin Fields? Keep an eye on the Falcons over there. But there's some landmines out there. Just don't wake up Monday morning with a squash out to here. You owe your book a couple dimes, and now next thing you know, you're pawning your wedding ring, and you got to go get a fake one, and so your wife doesn't, you know what. So
you're right though, Jeff. A lot of short faves out there, and we don't like to talk about like the public splits and the betting action like that, but I think week one it's worthy of saying, hey, some of these shorter numbers. You're looking at teams, as you mentioned, Chicago, and then you've got Houston. Everybody, who doesn't love Houston this week? Sign me up for Indy. And there we go. So there's a lot of interesting stuff to look at there. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of teams that, like, I'll tell you, one of the favorites that I like is the Seahawks. I'm willing to lay it with them. And I think that it's just the rookie quarterback fade. To me, the spot for them. It's the defense that I trust. It's going on the road. And people are like, I'm not laying that many points. Well, it's not about that many points. It's about the situation and the spot to me. I mostly like dogs this week, Jeff. I'm mostly a dog player week one, but I like this favorite.
No, I like where your eyes are with Indy. I love Indy this week. I'm looking for some regression from the Texans. Not that C.J. Stroud and Coach D'Amico Ryan aren't great. They're two new toys, Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon. I get all that. Big Tank Dell fan here. Did add Joe Mixon in one spot this week as well on a fantasy team. My point is you're going to give me points with Indy, with a healthy Richardson, with a healthy Taylor. I'll take my shot there. I'll buy the hook up to 3 if I have to. I'll sprinkle some beer and pizza money on the Colts. I'm in 2 suicide pools. I am going to be at the train wreck for the Bengals on one, and Andrew, great eyes. I am on Seattle on the other one.
I like it. I like that one, and that might be a good survivor pick. That might be the one, Jeff. That might be, because everybody's going to be on the Bengals, and I get it. People say, hey, you gotta save teams for Christmas in that circa one, but you also have to get to Christmas, guys. So don't overthink it, but you also want to be trying to be smart as well. Rudy, what's up, man? I'm happy. Rudy's Panthers guy as well. He's on the Panthers with me. That's a free play of mine, also a client play. He wants to know the team total. Jeff, do you have it in front of you? I'm looking for it right now, and I can't seem to find it on the 17.5. There we go. 17.5 is the number I'm seeing for the team total for the Panthers. That's a game I'm going to just stick with the spread. That's not really a game that I'm jumping out of bed and want to take a team total over. More so just interested in taking them to hang around in that one, Jeff.
What I'm going to do is quickly here, because we got about a minute to go. I'm going to give everyone here watching and listening the go numbers in the NFL for the team totals. Now, I'm not telling you to run to the window and play every one of these. I'm telling you what I see in the market, and they're giving us as go numbers here. So with that said, Miami over 27.5 plus 110. Buffalo over 27.5 plus 105. Here we go. Denver over 17.5 plus 105. And you just brought up the Panthers. Panthers over 17.5. And I got them at even money right there. Those are the go numbers. Now, they could move. Again, as you see, I'm taking the key numbers in the NFL, 21, 24. You get into that 27, 28 number as well. Again, 14.5. If they give you 13.5 and you take the over, good luck there. But again, they want you to do that. So when they give you the 14.5s, the 21.5s, they give you the 24.5s. Okay, those are when you want to go over and get the plus money, and vice versa. 13.5 juiced over minus 125. You want to go under the 13.5 at plus 105 there.
Jeff, I'm usually good at following the clock. I apologize.
It's okay.
Anything
It's
to
okay.
mention on the way out? What you have going today? It's a big, busy day for you. Anything you can mention, and then no analysis needed. One college football play from you before we head out. Just one pick.
All right, so we're going live in 4 minutes right now at EC Sports Investor. Go over to our YouTube page at East Coast Sports Investors. We also have a show at 1:30 with WagerWire. And go check us out at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. If you're looking, I'm going to do this just on your show, okay? We have a gym membership for $3 a day, $99 a month. I am only going to do this today on your show. I am giving everyone through the Super Bowl, VIP access, okay? So 6 months times $99 is $6.99, okay? I will give the first 5 people from this show $2.99 for the whole season. And that includes all our plays, not just college football and NFL. That is sent to your phone via text and emailed. So I am giving you a $400 savings. The first 5, that's it, that send us a direct message on Twitter at EC Sports Invest, or sends us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. First 5, that's it. $2.99 through the Super Bowl, all sports. And I it must be the coffee because I'm feeling froggy today. So and for my one play in college, I'm going to go. I think there's going to be a lot. I know Nebraska's defense is a lot better. I think there's going to be fireworks on both sides. I like the Nebraska team total over in the Nebraska-Colorado game this week.
Wow. Thank you very much, Jeff. Sorry for keeping you late. $2.99 through the Super Bowl. All sports action. 5 people only, right? 5 people only. Guys,
First
you're watching
5
right now. Okay.
First 5, and again, that is the VIP experience. We charge $375 a month retail. Okay, that has been up since January 1st, 2015. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary. What we do is a welcome to ECSI, a gym membership, $3 a day. It's $99 a month. So for this 6-month package, it's $6.99. I am giving it to you for $2.99 for the first 5 people. At EC Sports Invest, DM me on Twitter or send me an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com.
Great stuff, guys. And again, Jeff's going live pretty much all day on his YouTube channel. So if it's still the hours between 8 and 8, he's probably live today. So make sure you check him out. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back a little bit later on today. Myself and Hakeem. Hakeem is joining me today to break down some NFL. We're mixing it up. A little bit of a collab there. So, guys, enjoy your Friday. We'll talk to you next time right here on the McInnis Pick Show.